Okay, I'm a little frustrated because I just recorded this, but it seems like it did not record the video, which is stupid because I was sharing my screen. So let me try again. Hopefully it'll work this time. All right, sharing my screen. Na, 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 na. I need none of these things. So what's happening here? This is what I need to share. Share screen. Here we go. All right, so I want to show you guys where you need to be working on the library tutorials modules. So if you go to our class, right, you'll see this English 101 library module online fall 2021. Go to that. You're going to see the information, and under that is going to be a quiz. You have to do all of this before Saturday in preparation for our time with the librarian. She's going to basically do a library tour, essentially, but it's digital. So she'll come to the lab and she'll talk to you about search engines, platforms for finding appropriate articles, what kind of sources are appropriate to use, how to filter information. So she's going to go through that with us for 2 hours. So she'll come at 1. You guys are going to come at 12. We are not meeting at 9 for multiple reasons. We don't need the whole time period, and we really need to go through the library tutorials, both the ones you have to do on your own and the one with the librarian, before you can start doing your research. So I'm going to do a lecture that we would have probably on just some mechanics of writing. I'm going to upload that by Thursday, so you have the opportunity to look at that on your own time. You could do it that morning if you'd like, but rather than meeting at 9, we are meeting at 12. We're doing this, like I said, for multiple reasons. We don't need 9 to 12. We don't need that whole time because, well, we just don't. There's only 4 of you. But also several of you have said that you're having a hard time finding childcare or the ability to have that 6-hour block of time for the class. And so we're still going to have a lecture, and it will still take up that amount of time, but you will have access to it on your own. And then we will meet at 12, and we will go over everything that we talked about in the video I posted earlier, or I'm going to send to you about the article and this one and the assignment and finding a topic and so on and so forth. We're going to discuss all of that until the librarian gets there at 1, and then she will be working with us until the end of lab, which is 2:42. All right, I hope that's clear. You are doing all of this before that, okay? In addition to the other things we talked about that are on your syllabus, you're reading chapter 12 and chapter 13 in your book, and also the article, the essay I just went over with you guys. All right, so I need to go to something else, get rid of that. Here we go. New share. Okay, share. All right, so this is the research essay. I want to go over it really quickly. The research essay, in many ways, is going to draw on the skills you've already developed. And originally, this essay was supposed to be the 3rd essay, which meant we would have done already a textual analysis essay as well. That would have helped you with this, but you don't need it. The work you did with the evaluation essay, just even getting a handle on syntax and sentence variation and grammar and punctuation and how to really develop your points in the organization of an essay and a structure, all of that will help you with this tremendously. So I do think you're prepared. It does need to be thesis driven, meaning you have to take a position on something. Chapter 13 is called, I think it's support or developing an argument or argumentation. It is about developing a strong thesis and really supporting that thesis through research. Chapter 12 is reporting information, and that they're both really do a great job explaining how to use research in your paper. You're going to use both genres in your paper. You're going to use both informational reporting and also argumentation. Both require research. That's the point. All right, you're going to have 3 sources. You will probably, most of you, end up using 5 or 6 sources, but it's a minimum of 3, okay? We'll talk more about sources on Saturday. It has to be 5 to 7 double-spaced pages. Don't worry about that number, because remember that 5 double-spaced pages is only 2.5 single-spaced pages. You're going to have a bibliography at the end of your paper with all your sources. We'll talk more about this on Saturday as well, and I'll teach you how to do it, including going over MLA format and what that means. All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about developing your topic and how this could work. So I have this little subject line where like maybe you put down one idea you're interested in. Then I would like you to brainstorm about everything you know about that idea, right? As you're brainstorming, putting down everything you know in this space, whether or not you use a space or put it in a notebook, it doesn't matter. I want you to start to think about questions you might have about the subject based on what you already know. As you develop a question, that question is going to become the beginning of your search, your Google search and your search throughout all the platforms that you're going to use from the library to find sources. So the answer to the question will eventually become your thesis. As you do more research, you're going to be refining your thesis. So what we have on this page is called a working thesis, which means it's subject to change. You're going to put it down based on what you are questioning, some initial research you do, but it will change every time you get new information. And eventually you'll have a really strong thesis that you know you can support because you developed your thesis out of the research you did. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to give you an example of how I would do this if I were writing the essay and walk you through this. So what I'm interested in right now is mental health and mental stability. So I might write just the subject mental health. That's a huge subject though, right? So now I might just start brainstorming about the subject. What do I know about mental health? What experience do I have with mental health? Well, I majored in psychology, so maybe I'll write down everything I know about that from my college days. Then I might start to think about people in my life who I know have issues with mental health. And then I might think about myself and I'll be like, what do I struggle with? Anxiety. So I'll write down anxiety and then I'll write down everything I know about anxiety. As I start to think about this, I might think about like, well, how do we cure this? Like, how do we fix the mind and how do we help the mind not be so anxious? I might have questions about medication. I might then have questions also about possibly like nutrition or exercise, how any of that could impact the mind. I might land on a question like, are there alternatives to education for fixing anxiety and for balancing moods or something? I might develop that question here. And as I start to try to seek an answer to that question through my research, I might come up with some answers. So maybe I find out that exercise is more important than anything else for reducing anxiety. So maybe I start to develop a thesis around that. So maybe the possible answer to, is there a way to correct anxiety without medication, is nutrition and exercise, and that's the beginning of my thesis. As I do more research, the thesis will become stronger, it'll change, it'll become more detailed, it might become broader. It depends on what you need for your particular essay. But that's just an example of how to work through coming up with a topic. This is my example, and this is my process. The book has something similar, but different ways of generating ideas for research. So please look at that section, the process of developing ideas around an informative essay and also an argumentative essay, because you're combining both of those processes to create this essay, okay? So make sure you are reading chapter 12 and 13. And I will see you on Saturday. Stop share and stop recording.